The name of the show is The Way to Go. My name is Alan Bendich. I'm going to be your host. Tonight's guest is a very good actor and someone I've known all my life, Mr. Max Bendich.
How are you, my son?
Hi.
My darling son.
How are you? I almost called you Aaron. How are you, Pop?
I'm fine now. Fine, as fine as I can be.
That's it.
Why? I'm with you, that's all.
That's it.
And
We've been doing this a long time, right, Pop? It's amazing.
I told you once, I'll tell you again. We never spoke. I'm 99 years old. I never spoke to you, and there was 99 since I've been doing the show. Is it about how long? About a year? Or
No, actually, I think you started in 2013, so it's like a year, a little bit more than a year.
A little bit more.
And I think we've done about 27 episodes, or this could be the 26th or 27th episode we've been together. And I still don't know who you are. No, I don't know.
But it shows you, 27 episodes. We talked about my life.
Right.
And I think we had some interesting parts in that talk. Many of them that I forgot. I always said the grandchildren and no, not the children, but I'm surprised about you. Mm-hmm. The children don't know because we had no time with the children, but we had time with the grandchildren, and they knew more about me than I did. I was 80. Don't you remember this? And Zadie, you don't. No. When I had to say no, it hurt.
Yeah, but the thing is, even though you don't remember some things, I mean, that didn't stop. Like people your age really, to a certain extent, they stop doing things. You know, they wind up, or they stop doing new things. They do basically the same thing over and over again. It's a routine. They wake up in the morning, they take their medication, they eat, they take a nap, and they go to sleep. I mean that's some of your day, right?
And they're glad to do it.
Right.
The whole thing is that routine. I'm serious, Alan. You hit the right word. The routine is something that has to happen, and it has to happen with the help of other people, and who are the help of other people? Most my family, right. And many of the people in Kitay House, and we joke around. We know one thing. This is, and we laugh about it. Yeah. There's no other place to go after this.
Right.
And we try our best to be happy. The whole thing. And I go over to them and I tell them, be an optimist. An optimist makes you feel so good. Even if you don't say the word no, you say other words that mean no, when no isn't an optimistic word. Right. And
that's it. I'm
teaching them something, I think.
And I know that you don't say no to any parts if you can, if you're up to it, right? And now that you have acting and you have this show, which is you look forward to coming to this show, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's fun. And then you also have, we have another show called Scriptless, which you look forward to, right? I mean, it's interesting. It must be interesting for you.
And not only, and again, it's new.
Right.
New that impossible. I think to myself, many times, what happened the day before? How did I act the day before? And all of a sudden, now I'm acting so differently. And the only way this could have happened, Alan, is living in Kitay House.
That's true.
Living by ourselves, it could never have happened. I never would have thought of it. Right. You might have come over to me and said it. I'll say, Alan, forget about it. I'm with Mom and everything else. But now I'm doing this, and we are together. And that, it brings the family together. Even the joking from David, my son David, and my daughter Miriam, we kid around. And new life has happened.
And the other thing that's interesting is you talk about luck a lot of times. And for me,
yes.
Lucky day, one summer day, I was looking, I got a mailing. I get all these mailings. And one of the mailings was to come to this, and this is back in 2012, to just come to a barbecue that LMC TV is having, I said, okay, I'll go. It was nice. It was at Harbor Island Park, whatever it was. And I just started thinking, my father-in-law used to have the show The Way to Go, and why not? I was wondering if I could resurrect the show. So I just asked. Eric said yes. You know, brought me to Dina. We put this package together, this show. And the same kind of thing happened with Scriptless. I just woke up one day and I was saying, you know, my dad's an actor now, you know, and I don't want him to go to all these auditions. I mean, it's a pain in the neck. I mean, we went on auditions during the winter and, you know, driving. It was fun, but the thing is, it took a lot of time and all this. I thought the easiest way to do, for you to act, was to make my own show. And now you're on, you know, a regular on a television show that we're producing. So. And it was all luck, you know, just thinking like, can I do it? And then coming to LMC TV, and they said, yes, you could do it. So I said, okay, thanks.
With your father-in-law, did you ever talk about, did it ever occur to you to be on his show?
He never asked me,
Oh.
but I can't, you know, I had been in Hollywood, you know that,
I know,
before I met Wendy. And when my father-in-law had the show, I kind of was jealous. You know, I used to miss the spotlight. I missed the lights, the cameras, the action, you know, whatever. I missed that stuff. But you know, it never even occurred to me to take over the show. And then one day I just said, maybe I'll take over the show. You know, it just happened. It was just a thought, and the thought became action. And now the action is 61 episodes, you know, so that's it.
What did you learn from your father-in-law that helped you out over here? Or didn't you learn anything?
No, well, my father-in-law was a brilliant man, and I mean, he was in the Secret Service during World War II. I mean, the guy was you know, he had his own public relations firm. He was a one-man show, and you know, he was a magician. He had he was just a smart guy. He was, you know, he had a column for a while, and and he had a comic in a newspaper. The guy was multi-talented, interested in everything. So what I learned from him was, I'll put it this way, I got everything I know from you, but what he did was he kicked it up a notch, and that's really it. Because basically he told me that, you know, when I was working at Sony, that's when I met Wendy, and I was at this level of my career. He said, Alan, you're going to go all the way up to here, or who knows how high you're going to go. And I was satisfied, kind of, at that level, but he kept on saying, you know, you think, he would always bring to my attention that, you know, if I was down or something, he used to say, why don't you write down all the different things you do to see really how much you really know and how much you really do. I mean, and it opened up my eyes. I couldn't believe, you know, after 2 or 3 pages of stuff that I was doing on the job and all that, and this is 20-something years ago, I realized that, you know, this guy knows. He had wisdom, and I miss him. I miss him a lot.
Maybe you remember, you must remember, when I used to come to visit you in Hollywood, and then you, with whoever it was, would get us, Mom and I, what's the word?
Extra?
What?
To become an extra or no?
An extra. Right. Even that was beautiful.
I know.
We would become an extra, and we would. When you watched us or something?
Yes.
Did you learn anything?
Well, you know, when I watched you on the set, and then I'm still, every now and then I'm looking on YouTube to try to find all the spots that you were in. I'm still looking for like The Lottery and all those other shows that you were in, and Cagney and Lacey. But it made me feel good to say, wow, you know, I mean, you weren't so happy that I went to California in the first place, but the idea that you used to come visit me, and then I get you on television shows that were on networks, I thought that was pretty cool, you know, and I loved how you guys loved to be on the set. I mean, that made me feel good.
I still remember, I say again, thank you, the word lottery. Yeah. That they needed somebody. This was one grocery against another grocery, and they wanted to buy him out, and he won the lottery, and we had to go across the street. And Mom and I, they told us, all right, you're going across the street. We had the shopping cart. Right. And we were running, and she was laughing. And that's all. Alan, and she could, look at what we're doing, and we're running. Alan, it was great. And it felt good. Why? Because that's what we would do when we were in New York, where we would go from this one. Why? Something is a little cheaper or $2
and we still do it.
Coupons.
Wendy and I still do the same thing. You know, we shop where it's, you know, you get the best deal. But the funny thing about that one episode that you were in, they used the same clip twice. That was the one thing that was good. Mommy's running across the street to the supermarket, and then later on, Mommy's running across the street. The editor used the same exact clip twice, and it was like, wow.
In other words, we did the right.
You did it so good they did it twice. And it is. And one thing, when I worked on Cagney and Lacey, we used to love to watch the show to see if we could find errors. You know what I mean? Like, because it was filmed in L.A., but it was supposed to be New York City cops. So we'd always look for things that would say like different kind of, like if they missed it in editing, or because it was such an important shot, they had to include it and hope no one saw it. But you know, some Hollywood sign or something from L.A. or a bus that said downtown L.A. on the back, and you know, it was fun.
But to help me for what I'm doing today, all those shows,
Yeah.
what do I remember about something like that? Here we were, Mom and I, we come in on a block. It's a block that have buildings only about up to the ceiling here, and lofts on the bottom. And when they opened up the door, it was a New York police station.
Right.
Now, in that New York police station, so many things were so different, and they would take the movies because of that. And when you see what was happening, how they were doing it, and the movies day and night.
Right, that's one thing. That was one thing I noticed, because I worked on Cagney and Lacey for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
When I got into the studio, after seeing it a few times on television, I mean, it was the second season that I came onto the show. When you see something on television, I mean, even here, you know, you walk into this studio, you know, it looks different. The studio looks different than what you see on TV. Because, you know, it's like we're on a stage. The stage is one thing, but there's so much stuff in the background that you don't see. You don't see the camera people who are doing this. You know, there's all the things that are happening around that you don't think about because you're watching TV.
No,
you know what I mean?
And one of the most important things was there was a big column, and there was usually either Cagney or Lacey. They would hide behind the column and shoot, and they would hide behind the column. And when you saw it on TV, wow! And all it was a little thing like this. And how is it possible to fool the people that way?
Well, that's it. I mean, even this show, you know, you're fooling people because, you know, it's beyond. You know, they just see this. They don't see what's beyond the camera. You know, behind the camera. You know, I mean, there's in a way, it's all a show. You know, it's all facade. And
there never was an ending. Because whenever we came to see my brother, so it was always an excuse. Why? He lived in Sun City in Nevada,
right?
And we would go to visit him, and then all of a sudden, another 150 miles, and we would be there in the morning, get a breakfast in McDonald's, and we would start out. And one time, I think I told Alan, I received a policeman stopped me. Here it's early in the morning. We leave Joe and Lillian, my brother and my sister-in-law, and we're going to visit you, but we're going to stop off in Las Vegas. And that's the way. There's a Kingston.
I think Kingman or Kingston.
Kingman.
Yeah.
And we're about 10 miles out of Kingman, and we were driving, and we take a look up I take a look early in the morning, and in the mirror, and there's a policeman coming. That was the funniest thing, and how I got away with it, I don't know. Usually you hear, that's what they're looking for, and I had my own car.
Right, so you had New York State plates.
New York State license.
Right.
I'm driving, I take a look, and I said, Dorothy, we're going to get a ticket. I don't know, I'm speeding. So I said, oh, look, can't help it. So she's telling me, move over and let him go. What do I notice? He's a policeman in a private car, and the lights are blinking on the bottom of the car. Alan, that saved me. Why? They're going on and off, on and off. And finally, and I'm riding. She's telling me to stop, and I'm still going 60 miles an hour. And all of a sudden, he's next to me, and he says, pull over. Then Alan listened to repartee between two people. He says to me, I get out, let's say your license. Didn't you see the lights? I said, sure I saw the lights. Why didn't you stop? One moment. What kind of I'm from New York. You're a policeman. Your light is supposed to be on. You put that thing on top. And what did I tell you? Wait, I was going like this to you, wasn't I? You're a doctor. I figure you're a doctor. You want to pass me? And we talk. He believed. Alan, I got away with it.
Boy, I could have used you a couple of times, Bob.
Wait a minute. And I remember
with your lines.
Alan, look what, and I like it, what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I paid back. The next year I came again. I had a bottle of beautiful, maybe Cuddy Sark, whatever, and we're going
I
again.
remember. Tell me, that's a good story.
Taking life easy, and I go to Kingman, find out where the police station is. I go to the police station, and I speak to them, and the sergeant or whatever, and they're laughing when I told them all that. She said, what are they telling? Oh, you have something for him? Leave it here. When he started leaving, Dorothy is looking at me, and what? And I'm laughing. I said, "What? Are you kidding? I didn't leave it." But I never saw him again.
Right.
But who came out? Alan, you should see this guy, Tarzan, or John Wayne. He came out, really a good-looking, big officer, and I talked my way out of it.
That's it. Sounds
Alan,
good.
I talked my way out of getting a summons.
That's it. How about the time you also said a cop stopped you, and he said something? Didn't you ever see Cagney and Lacey? Or wasn't there a story?
No,
that?
wait.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute, Alan. So he's asking me the same. Now these questions, I told him. Remember, where am I going? And I didn't see it yet. Right? That was the first time.
Right.
I said, I don't remember the word.
Yeah.
It was Cagney and Lacey.
Yeah, he said, what's the matter?
Starsky
Starsky and Hutch?
Starsky and Hutch.
Okay.
I said, no, sir, I don't look at those things. I'm a Channel 13 man.
Oh, that's right.
And I listen to opera, and I listen to the symphony, and he's looking at me. So what kind of jerk am I?
What kind of weirdo are you?
What kind of weirdo is he? And I think in the end, he must have liked me. Right?
Well, you're still here. You're lucky.
He stopped me. He stopped me for breaking the law. He did, but I think what he heard, I was telling him the truth, and I was telling him the truth.
Right.
I never saw anybody with the lights on the bottom.
So,
but
Pop, so what? Tell us. I mean, tell me about how you feel about being an actor now. You know, I mean, what is it like? Do you get nervous still before you're?
No more. No more.
I like that.
I don't. Why don't I get nervous? Because I realize one thing, Alan, and believe me. When you see a movie, it's a complete movie. When you're acting in it, there are 40 or 50 different things, and it's happening 2 minutes here or 2 minutes there, and I'm realizing it now. 2 minutes or whatever it is, and all of a sudden, even the same picture, but it will move away. It will move. So it is still 2 minutes for that, and
Right.
2 minutes for this. And this guy who was the editor, I think he knows where to cut and where to do this and where to put things together.
Right.
And even the last one, that we were doing, and Alan, I'm learning.
But you know, the other thing is, I mean, you've had some scenes. You have scenes with most of the big principal. Like you had scenes with Noah, who plays Sam, who plays your
Right.
son. You've had scenes with me, and you had scenes now with Greg, and you really hold your own with these guys. I mean, I'll put it this way: I saw the first episode yesterday. Actually, I think was the first time I saw it, and actually, I'm sorry, I saw it this week, but today was the final cut, and it really came out good. And you're holding your own with these guys. I mean, as you're taking as much as you're giving, and you're giving as much as you're taking.
And Alan, I'm learning that. I'm learning that. I am not acting, I'm living it.
And you're reacting too, right?
I'm living what I...
Oh, that's right.
And this is what I think that I have to be doing.
You know, there's one scene, and you got Noah, because Noah, who plays Sam, he's always like a tough guy.
Yes.
You know? He says, concentrate, you know? And then and you go up to him when you first see him, you give him a kiss and all this stuff, and you disarm him because he's your son. And then you're talking, oh, I can't believe it. The only time he cracked a smile in the entire show was when you talking to him, when you touch his face, he smiles, and he broke character for a second, and I loved it. I can't wait to show him that. But other than that, and it was a nice moment, because he should have smiled when you did that. And he did it, but you could tell that wasn't acting at that moment. You know, that was real.
On that same show, remember something else? There were two brothers.
Right.
The two brothers, they haven't seen each other for such a long time.
In 5 years.
Right. And now, even though I did something good, there were so many other things, Alan. Later on, it's in my mind, I should have talked about this. I should have talked
The other thing that's good, though, is that I'm the producer of the show,
Right.
and you're in the show forever. So whatever you didn't do last episode, you could do it this time. You know what I mean?
And Alan, believe me, what I think I could be doing is terrific. That would be just. But again, I thought when I see on television, it isn't a long scene. Very seldom it is unless it's a fight.
Right.
And then,
but you should see, the one thing I like about the way Luis Rodriguez, our editor, works is he makes the show better. And one of the things is, like, I'll have a scene that's like 2 or 3 minutes long.
Uh-huh.
And then I'll have another scene that's happening exactly at the same time. And then what he'll do is he'll show a little piece of one, then he'll show a little piece of the other.
That's
so
it.
It's contemporaneous. You know, it's happening at the same time.
And then the minute after that, there's something else. Yeah. But it seems
but
that
and he's cutting the scene into smaller scenes, and it works. It looks great.
Alan, that's what I'm learning. The intricacies of being in the movies. Yeah. And when they have, every now and then, Alan, we go to Columbia University, we go to NYU.
Right.
Now, I could see them teaching what I'm looking at, but if I were at their ages, maybe I would have gone through that kind of thinking about that. What are they doing? They're teaching them the minute things, the small things that they forgot about. They had to forget about it because it happens. Sometimes it happens so fast you don't even think about it. Right. And yet, that going so fast, Alan, is when he cuts this and this and this, makes the picture that much better.
Oh no, of course. And also the other thing is, I mean, when you look at the final cut of the episode,
yes,
it's this big. I thought it was going to be this big, but he's snipping off all the crap, you know, because not every, you know,
Alan,
I'm not Martin Scorsese here,
I didn't say that. I know that. I mean, that's
so he's getting rid of the stuff that doesn't work well, and that's why I think I'm learning. The other thing is, from working with, you know, this is my directorial debut and all this stuff, I'm going to cut much more. I mean, I'm going to not cut. I mean, I'm going to shoot much more. So this way we have more to cut. You know, more, and we'll be left with more at the end. You know, and I think it'll work better that way.
Again, that's what. Not I think it will have to work.
Right.
Why? Because
you have more.
There it is, and it helps. It helps both. It helps everybody.
It helps the editor. The other thing I learned is sometimes I say cut too quickly. The editor said, let it go a little bit further. Then you can, you know, we could always cut. Just let it go a little bit further. And I said, wow, you know, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and now I'm learning now. So it's all good. It's a good feeling, and to work collaboratively with the cinematographer Louis and the cameraman Xavier and Louis, our editor, the other Louis. I mean, we're all there. Everybody's trying to get the best possible product together, you know, and it's fascinating.
And with me, from the beginning, I remember the beginning. I goofed. I knew mistakes were happening. Why? Because I couldn't imagine any other way to do it, and it was so easy to. And the first one and the second one, I know I goofed up, but only for one reason. I didn't blame anybody. I blamed me. Yeah. But after that, I realized.
No, you were good. No, Daddy. The other thing is, one of the other good things about you being the actor and me being the director and producer is that I'm not going to let you have a bad scene. In other words, I'm going to make you do it again. So, you know, I mean, everybody else, I'm trying to get 2 or 3 takes, and that's it. You have
No.
carte blanche, Pop.
No, but I still don't understand, believe me,
Yeah.
where the things I did and to be told, this was terrific. I thought I'm going to waste a half hour telling him what to do this, and,
Right.
and I did it, and I don't understand how come that
And even Noah, and Noah's got a good heart. He plays a tough guy all the time, but he's got a really good heart. And he was saying how good an actor you were. And really, when I'm looking at what I see now, I mean, your scenes, and everyone says it. That's the thing. I mean, I sat down with some very important people yesterday with that, and they talked about, he's 99, he's really good. I mean, it's just, it's just amazing. I mean, not just good for a 99-year-old. You're a good actor, but what does good for a 99-year-old mean anyway? But they couldn't believe you were 99. And what is 99 again, Dad?
one day after.
It's a number. That's
It's a number. That's right. No, and how do I don't say 99. Oh, how old are you? One number twice.
That's it.
I don't
Double
want him
nines. Come on.
that-
Oh, there's no double nines on
and
the dice.
yeah, I missed that. You know what I missed? That's what you said. The
I know,
number on the
Vegas.
dice.
I know.
I had never, because of you, I never even heard of the word Las Vegas. I never heard of California. And here I'm going to visit you. And I'll never forget, we're on the way to visit you, and we go and we're at the Mississippi River. Now, Alan, you didn't know this. Maybe I told you before. David, Miriam and I went to Israel,
Right.
and from Israel, we went to Egypt.
Right.
And we were in Cairo, and then we had to do other things. Then we took a ride on the Nile. So we go on a boat, and we're riding, and the people were looking. I said, I don't think I'm going to see Cleopatra coming down this. This is the most miserable, dirty,
Really, it was disgusting?
dirty. They said the Mississippi was bad.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there was even, there's one other, I don't know why we're talking about, one other river, God, in India, the Ganges River.
Right.
The Ganges River is almost a God, like God is in the
That's
Mount
where
Sinai,
God used to
with
go swimming
Moses,
there.
with everything.
Right.
And you should see what they do. They take baths there. They take the most filthiest filth. And it's the most holiest river there is. And the same thing over here. The Mississippi, well, that's...
Was it disgusting or what?
No, well, you could see...
I mean, now I guess it's cleaner now than it was back
No,
then.
I don't, look, I haven't...
Well, we actually went down to Louisiana, and I think that's right off of the Mississippi, and New Orleans. It looked wet, We didn't really we didn't really look at the river that much. But,
we did it. We drove down there. And jokingly I say, we came to Jacksonville. I made a right turn in Jacksonville, and we were on Route 10, or whatever it is. And then we came to New Orleans, and Alan. And again, my dreams. These are.
Well,
happy,
I know that
they
you
were
didn't
happy.
really. I know you didn't want me to go to California, but it did open up a whole new territory for you,
it
a
is
whole
not-
new life.
It is
right?
not the idea. You whether we like, you went. And
That's it.
And I don't think we ever told you don't go.
Mom did.
Mom, well, all right. Look, I don't
But
blame
you
her.
never did.
I don't. No.
You were always supportive, Pop.
That's it.
You know what? And because of your support, there's and all the good times we've had together. There's only one thing left to say, Dad.
And
I gotta tell you, Pop. It's a wrap. Good night, folks.